In 2019, Airbus made one of the biggest announcements in aviation history. The production of the A380 Superjumbo jet was finished. The market had clearly decided the huge 4-engine airplane was simply too expensive to operate. Airlines were choosing smaller, more efficient models. And yet, at the same moment, one of Asia's most respected carriers, All Nippon Airways or ANA, was getting ready to introduce 3 brand new A380s into their fleet. Why? The decision immediately looked foolish. Leading airlines like Air France and Lufthansa were already retiring their A380s years earlier. The industry agreed that these planes were simply becoming too costly. This purchase went against everything ANA stood for. ANA is famous for efficiency. They were the launch customer and still operate the world's largest fleet of the fuel-efficient Boeing 787 Dreamliner. The A380 is the complete opposite. It is a massive aircraft with 4 engines, which means double of the maintenance and much higher fuel consumption compared to the twin-engine jets ANA loves. For a company focused on saving costs, committing over $1 billion to buy these gas-guzzling giants seemed like a terrible, simple mistake. But the decision was never really about the plane itself. It was about a secret. High-stakes battle for the most valuable asset in Japanese aviation. It was about making a calculated sacrifice to defeat a major American rival. The A380 was the price ANA had to pay. Fasten your seatbelts, check your like and subscription. Let's take off and find out. The ghost of Skymark Airlines. To truly understand ANA's strange purchase, we must first look at a smaller company, Skymark Airlines. Skymark was once the 3rd largest carrier in Japan. They tried to compete directly with giants like ANA and GAL. But they made one enormous, fatal gamble. Around 2010, Skymark placed an ambitious order for 6 Airbus A380s. This was a massive decision for a low-cost carrier, far too big for their financial stability. When Skymark couldn't afford the delivery payments and missed important deadlines, Airbus terminated the contract. This led to a huge penalty fee, in a range of $700 million. This fee, which Skymark simply couldn't pay, forced the airline to file for bankruptcy protection in January 2015. When an airline collapses, its most valuable assets are put on a market. For Skymark, the greatest prize wasn't the remains of its old fleet. It was the crucial landing and takeoff slot they controlled, especially at Tokyo's Haneda Airport. To explain the value, think of location. Haneda, HND, is only 14 kilometers from central Tokyo. Narita, NRT, the other major airport, is over 60 kilometers away. For a business traveler, the convenience of Haneda is priceless. Access to Haneda is strictly limited by the Japanese government. These slots cannot be bought or sold directly. For any airline, domestic or international, gaining a single slot at Haneda can unlock billions of yen in annual revenue. Skymark's bankruptcy suddenly put some of the most profitable aviation assets in all of Asia. These vital Haneda slots up for grabs. The battle for Haneda. When Skymark filed for bankruptcy, the fight for its assets quickly became a high-stakes proxy war. ANA had a plan to invest in Skymark, take control and integrate the valuable Haneda slots into its own network. However, ANA had a huge rival, Delta Airlines. Delta saw Skymark's collapse as a perfect opportunity to get a firm foothold in Tokyo. If Delta gained control, they could use Skymark's Haneda slots to launch direct, high-value routes to the United States. For Delta, this access would be an enormous strategic victory in Asia. For ANA, this was a disaster. If Delta got those slots, they would become a direct, powerful competitor right on ANA's doorstep, taking away premium passengers. ANA had to block Delta at any cost. The entire fate of Skymark was decided by a vote among its creditors. The largest shareholder was Nippon Aviation, which leased planes for Skymark. But the creditor with the single most powerful and complicated claim was Airbus. Airbus held a gigantic claim against Skymark, the massive penalty fee resulting from the cancelled A380 order. Because of the size of this debt, Airbus's vote was decisive in a bankruptcy proceeding. They could choose which airline's rescue plan to support, ANA's or Delta's. Airbus saw a chance to recover some of its pride and money after the A380 failure. They essentially delivered an ultimatum to ANA. We will vote against the Delta plan, ensuring you will win the Haneda slots if and only if you agree to take over Skymark's cancelled order for the A380s. ANA didn't want the A380s, but they desperately needed the Haneda slots and they had to stop Delta. So ANA was forced to agree to the deal, accepting the costly and difficult A380s as the ransom price for their most critical strategic asset. Lemons into lemonade. ANA was now stuck with 3 massive A380s they didn't want. The question was, what to do with planes that are too big and too expensive for your main business routes? The A380 simply wasn't the right fit for routes like Tokyo to London or New York. Those routes demand flexibility and frequent flights, which the efficient Boeing 787 and 777 provide. An A380 flight is too large. If a flight is cancelled or delayed, the airline suddenly has 520 passengers who need rebooking, causing a massive logistical problem. ANA had to find a route where the huge capacity was actually an advantage. The answer was Honolulu, Hawaii. Hawaii is the single most popular holiday destination for Japanese tourists. It is a market driven by seasonal peaks and large family groups. This route has historically been dominated by ANA's main rival, Japan Airlines, JAL. ANA realized they could use the A380's high capacity to flood the market, effectively lowering the price per seat and challenging JAL's monopoly. This decision was a strategic attack. Instead of matching JAL's frequency, ANA focused on matching their total volume with just one massive plane. To make the flight itself a unique product, ANA created the Flying Honu concept. They introduced 3 unique liveries, each painted with a different endangered sea turtle. This branding transformed the aircraft from a business problem into a family-friendly tourist attraction. Inside the plane, the layout was designed specifically for leisure travel. The cabin mix. ANA put only 520 seats on a plane, fewer than many competitors, to offer more space. Special features. They added the ANA coaches system in economy class, which allows a row of seats to be turned into a sofa for families. They also added economy class coaches and a premium economy section that was much larger than on other jets. By making the flight part of the holiday experience, ANA turned the difficult, oversized plane into a destination in itself. Was the price worth it? The ultimate question is simple. Did this crazy gamble pay off? Yes, it did. Before the pandemic hit, the A380 was immediately successful on the Honolulu route. The planes were popular with travelers and often flew with a load factor occupancy of over 90%, a huge success for such a large jet. More importantly, ANA achieved its main goal. It broke the dominance of its main rival, JAL. Before the A380, JAL controlled roughly 45% of the highly profitable Tokyo-Hawaii market. After ANA introduced its three A380s in 2019, ANA's market share quickly rose to over 40% in just 1 year. JAL lost a massive part of its revenue on that critical route. Let's look at the final numbers. The cost of the three A380s was roughly $1.3 billion at list price, a one-time expense. But the strategic asset ANA secured to Haneda Airport is expected to generate an estimated $500 million to $700 million in additional annual revenue for ANA across its entire network. The main lesson here is clear. A strategic asset is always more valuable than an efficient machine. The question was never about the operational cost of the plane. It was about the final price. ANA didn't buy these massive inefficient airplanes. ANA bought an estimated $500 million per year in permanent strategic advantage. They purchased the A380 as necessary entry fee to secure market dominance in Tokyo. What do you think about ANA's decision? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you like this video, consider subscribing. I'm just starting this channel, but I put a lot of effort into every video to make it clear, accurate and worth your time. And now let's meet in these videos. You definitely will find something interesting.